Ghouls and Gals, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Hillary, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. You guys are probably wondering why I'm wearing this hat and why I look like such a fierce Bo Batten's ass bee. It is because tonight we are going to be covering the Bell Witch. Dun dun dun. Now before we get started, I just wanted to mention, in my last video I had mentioned that somebody could win this mask. So if you guys are interested in that, you can go back to my last video, feel free to give it a like, subscribe. If you are already subscribed, you just have to type done down in the bottom and you will be entered in a chance to win. So far I don't really think I have anybody who's entered, but yeah, who knows? Like if one person does it, then one person gets a cool mask. Alright, let's get on into it. So the legend of the Bell Witch starts with, of course, the Bell family. John Bell, who was a farmer from North Carolina, and his wife and children did a big move and they decided to settle in Tennessee in 1804. Their farm consisted of 320 acres of land, and they actually lived on this land for quite a bit of time, for the first 13 years. Of course, 13 being unlucky, and you'll hear why it's so unlucky. In the summer of 1817, something would happen that would change the lives of the family forever. Quite a few members of the family, while they were on the property or walking or just going somewhere in general, would see these strange animals. And these animals had imperfections. A lot of them were very weird looking, dark looking, and overall pretty creepy. Later on, after seeing these strange animals, things started to progress and they started hearing knocking on the outside of the house, which then progressed to knocking on the inside of the house, followed by sounds of chains, rats gnawing on bedposts, rocks dropping in the middle of their floor, and coughing and choking sounds. The family was terrified, like, obviously, because of hearing all this stuff, but they actually kept all this information to themselves for over a year. Being, like, super religious, I don't think it was a big thing to be like, hey, we haunted. Like, they don't want that stigma, right? So they just don't say anything. They didn't say anything for over a year until John decided to tell his neighbor after things progressively started getting worse and worse. So John confided in his neighbor, James Johnson, and then he invited his neighbor over to come and hear these sounds for himself and see what he thought. So James obviously came over, stayed inside the house, and confirmed that some crazy shiznit was going on. He then said, you know what, we need to tell more people. We need to invite more people here so they can see this and hear this for themselves. Because of that, a committee was actually formed and an investigation took place. It wasn't very long before like loads of people came in and started visiting, and the thing started to get more powerful and more powerful, to which it could actually respond to questions it was being asked. And they would ask, like, who are you? And at first it would claim it was a whole bunch of things, when later it said it was Kate. And a lot of people at the time thought, hey, like, this is our neighbor, because the Bells lived next to a lady named Kate Batts, a lady who they had had a lot of property disputes with, they weren't getting along with, there was a whole bunch of stuff that went down with Kate, so they figured that Kate had cursed the family and had sent some sort of entity to come and rattle the family. There were two people in the house that were affected the most, and it was John Bell and his daughter Betsy Bell. Now, the spirit had two main reasons for haunting, and it was one, to kill John, and it made it very clear that it wanted him dead, and also was to stop Betsy from marrying a local boy named Joshua Gardner, which I don't really get. If it's supposed to be the neighbor that's causing this entity to come and she's cursing them and all this shit, I could understand them wanting John dead. But why would you want Betsy to not marry this neighbor boy? It doesn't really ring to me why the spirit would be attacking one of the children. Wouldn't it be the parents? Over the next 3 years, the Bell Witch tormented the whole Bell family. But it was mostly, again, like I said, directed at John and Betsy. Betsy would get her hair pulled. She would get scratched. She would get stuck with pins. She would get picked, like, picked up. She would get hit, like a ton of stuff, whereas John would get this swelling of a throat, and he was getting sicker and sicker as the days passed. It's actually said, though, that the Bell Witch, although she was causing all this trouble for Betsy and John, she wasn't really attacking John's wife, Lucy, and Betsy's mother. She regarded her as like a beautiful woman and would leave her oranges and other stuff around the house, as even though she's pinching and like sticking needles in her daughter, she's leaving the mother oranges. So it's a little weird. Now at this point, obviously with the committee being formed and stuff, the Bell Witch was becoming really, really famous. Like people were coming by to like see this ghost for themselves and the stuff that this ghost did. And it got to the point where it was so powerful that it could actually tell people's futures. It could be in 2 places at once, and it could quote the Bible. So I don't, like, you know, I'm not really down for a voice to be quoting the Bible in my house. If I just heard that, I'd be like, hello? On December 20th, 1820, the whole reason for the Bell Witch appearing finally happened. John Bell died, and it was said that he was poisoned, and the Bell Witch took credit. Like, you could hear her voice cackling and saying, you know, I killed him. There was a little bottle found next to his bed, and it was said to have contained some sort of poison. He died in his bed, and that was it. It's actually, I think it was one of the first cases in America actually went to court over this death, and it was ruled a supernatural, like, he died because of the supernatural. And that was in a court. Like, then again, in the 1800s, back then there was a bunch of, like, the law was a little but still creepy fun fact. And then the next year, in 1821, Betsy broke off her engagement with the boy she was supposed to marry. So all in all, this thing got what it wanted. The Bell Witch then, basically, when she got what she wanted, said goodbye and said she would return in another 7 years. The Bell Witch did return in 1828, and it said that she had conversations with John Bell Jr. about the past, the present, and the future, and made a bunch of predictions for the family, and then vanished. Before she disappeared, she actually said that she would return again in 107 years, which was supposed to be 1935, but as far as we know, I don't think she returned. There was no crazy voices happening to the Bell family, obviously, but people still to this day think that she haunts the land. There was a cave on the property that is now currently called the Bell Witch Cave, and you can actually go and visit this place. And much like Robert the Doll, don't touch anything, don't take anything, don't take any rocks. The Bell family still, or the people that own the cave still get these rocks mailed back to them. It said if you pick up these rocks from her cave, she will haunt you and bad luck will befall you. So people that pick up these rocks from the cave are always mailing them back with a bunch of letters saying, I'm sorry for picking up these rocks. So all in all, this case was one of the most documented. It's crazy that I can even tell you, like, because of so many people that came and experienced these things by themselves or for themselves, we have all this information, and I can tell you the story and be like, obviously I wasn't there, but this is one that I believe. I think that this happened. I don't really think there'd be a reason. Like, it's not like nowadays where you're getting money for this. Like, people were super religious. This isn't something that you'd want to be happening. I'm sure that would stop, like, people from wanting to marry your children and all that. Like, ew. But this is something that I believe that this took place. And I think if you went to the Bell property, went to the Bell caves and stuff, maybe you might experience something like that for yourself. But it all comes down to, what do you guys think? Do you guys think the Bell Witch was real and it was actually a curse that was put on by an angry neighbor? Or do you think they were faking it? Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.